Bismillah. Bismillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa'. Today's story, inshallah, about two guys, one with heaven, or with gardens, which Allah describes it as Jannatain. A Jannah is a heaven. So, and the other guy was one was a believer and the other one was a disbeliever. He disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah, before starting this story, Allah gives like an introduction to this bit, where Allah Azza wa Jalla says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Innal ladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihat inna la nudhi'u ajra man ahsana 'amala." So Allah Azza says, indeed, those who believe in Allah and do good will never, their reward will never be lost. Then Allah talks about those who do believe in Allah and do good. Allah says about them, أولئك لهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتهم الأنهار. Allah says about these people that believe in Allah and do good, that they will be rewarded heavens, Jannat, tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. Those heavens that they will be in, or gardens, rivers will be flowing underneath them. يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says the clothes that these people will be wearing on the day, in heaven is أساور من ذهب. They will be wearing some gold. ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سندس. And their clothes will be green from the finest silk. متكئين فيها على الأرائك. They'll be sitting, relaxing on thrones. So imagine all these rewards that Allah Azza wa Jalla will give to the believers. That Allah Azza wa Jalla says, believe and do good. So after that, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا. So this is, Allah Azza wa Jalla describes this reward. Bless the reward and further resting place. So Allah will talk about their reward because of the effort that they did in the dunya, and the resting place that they will be forever. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about the story. So He gives that introduction of those who do good and believe in Allah and do good, and what Allah, the Jannah and the heavens that Allah will give them. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَضُرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ رَجُلَيْنِ. So Allah says, give them the example of those two men. And the tafsir says one was believed in Allah and the second one didn't believe in Allah. So Allah Azza wa Jal gave them, they were both wealthy. One spent his money and his wealth in the sake of Allah, giving it out, and the other one decided to have his own gardens. So Allah Azza wa Jal gave him two gardens. Allah just says, وَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الرَّجُلَيْنِ جَعَلْنَا لِأَحَدِهِمَا. We made for one of them, the one that disbelieved in Allah, Jannatain, not just the heaven, two. And even if I say two men, two heaven, you'll think each one has a garden, one of the gardens. Oh no, the one didn't have any, and the other one had two. Jannatain, the description of these gardens are min a'nab, there's grape. وَحَفِفْنَاهُمَا بِنَخْلٍ, and there's palm tree around it. وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمَا زَرْعًا, and there's gardens and grass within the gardens. كِلْتَ الْجَنَّتَيْنِ آتَتْ أُكُلَهَا. Both gardens had the fruits that the person expected from them. So there were some of them didn't. All of them gave the fruits that this man wanted. وَحَفِظْنَاهُمْ لَكَ وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمَا زَرْعًا كِلْتَ الْجَنَّتَيْنِ آتَتْ أُكُلَهَا وَلَمْ تَظْلِمْ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. Nothing was wasted. All the trees gave the fruits that he asked for. And then Allah gives one more description. وَفَجَّرْنَ خِلَالَهُمَا نَهَرًا. Imagine, between those amazing gardens, there's a river flowing between them. So just imagine this scene. Then Allah just says, وَكَانَ لَهُ ثَمَرٌ. This guy, the disbeliever, had his own fruits. فَقَالَ لِصَاحِبِهِ. So he went to his friend, who believes in Allah and is not as wealthy as this person. So he says to him, وَهُوَ يُحَاوِرُهُ أَنَا أَكْثَرُ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَأَعَزُّ نَفَرًا. He says, indeed, I'm better than you, I'm more wealthy than you are, and I'm more famous, and people respect me more. He linked people respecting him because of his money. That's how he thought about it. So he said, أنا أكثر منك مالا وعز نفرا. So this ignorant, this proud of himself that he had when he said to his friend. And then he walked to his garden. وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. And he was a sinner to himself after saying this thing to his friend. But what he said to himself is, قَالَ مَا أَظُنُّ أَن تَبِيدَ هَذِهِ أَبَدًا. I'll never expect that this heaven and gardens I have will ever vanish. He thinks this heaven will stay forever because of what it's surrounded by. And then he says, وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةَ قَائِمَةً. He's a disbeliever. He says, I don't even believe in the day of judgment. And then he gives that exception that وَلَئِن رُدِدتُّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي. And if there were a day of judgment and there was a God that you claim, then if there were, this God definitely loved me. Otherwise I won't have all these heavens and gardens where you don't have anything. This God that you believe in, he definitely doesn't love you, but he loves me for sure. وَلَئِن رُدِدتُّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. He says, so if I do die and there is a day of resurrection, God loves me and he will give me even better gardens. These are his assumptions. So imagine a friend of yours who is a disbeliever says that. He has, let's say, a car, to make it even more realistic, and he says, I've got a car, and even if I die, I have a better car. So imagine him thinking like that. Our reaction will most likely be irresponsible and irrational and something that we don't want to do. But look how he reacted. And again, in the Quran, Allah Azza teaches us from those who do bad and teaches us how to react when these things happen. His friend says to him, قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره أكفرت بالذي خلقك من تراب. Have you disbelieved in the God, on the Lord that created you from dust? ثم من نطفة ثم سواك رجلا. So he starts describing stages that he's created from, and says that Allah has created you from dust, then from a drop of seed, and then fashioned you like a man, or into a man. ثم سواك رجلا لكنه هو الله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا. So he says, indeed, it's all under Allah's command, and I, this believer says, I will never disbelieve in Allah, and I will never have a partner with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will always link those wealth that Allah gives me to Him, not that I got it by myself and my intelligence. So and then he teaches his friend, وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ. And this is a lesson that we can learn from. Sometimes people will actually give the hasad to their own self. They will be so ignorant, they will be so proud and about what they have, that they, again, mostly people will have hasad on whoever has it, someone else. But sometimes even the ulama says a person can do it to himself when he looks at himself in the mirror and thinks, wow, and he starts praising himself, and forget to say, MashaAllah, he forgets to link it to, this is a blessing that Allah has given me. So this guy says to his disbeliever friend, وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. And if you were to enter your gardens, you should be saying, مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. This is all by the will of Allah. لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. There is no strength except from Allah that gave you this heaven. That is amazing. إِن تَرَنَ أَنَّا قَلَّ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. Then he tells them, you look at me and think I'm less wealthy, and even child-wise, because Allah even gave him less children than this other guy. So he says, because I'm less wealthy than you are, I got less children, you start praising, so I think you're better than me. So he starts praying, this believer. So he says, فَعَسَى رَبِّي أَن يُؤْتِيَنِي خَيْرًا مِنْ جَنَّتِكَ. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me better gardens than the ones you have. And the ulama says in tafsir here, he didn't ask for gardens on earth. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want better gardens, but not on earth. I want it in the day of judgment. I want it in heaven. So even he's looking into the akhirah, not the dunya. Dunya is not of one of his concerns. He had the wealth and he spent it in the sake of Allah, not in the gardens. وَيُرْسِلَ عَلَيْهَا حُسْبًا. And then he says to his friend, and I ask Allah to send a punishment. And if you were to be in this garden, all you'd see is beauty and grass and fruits are all around you. And if you were to see something, and if something was to enter this garden, it's either from above and you can see sky, or underneath. Otherwise, it's fully surrounded. It's like it's Allah just describes it as Jannah, as in heaven, not just a garden. Jannatain, not even one, with a river in between. It's amazing, like just by imagining it. So he says, I ask Allah to send a punishment من السماء, from the sky, فتصبح صعيدا زلقا, so it becomes like a smooth sand. And if you imagine, if you go to the beach and you see sand on the beach, you can't see trees, you can't see any grass because it doesn't grow. And he asked Allah that this punishment will come from the heavens, from the sama, and your garden will be flat. And then the other alternative is from earth, because these are the only ways that anything will happen to this amazing Jannah. أو يصبح ماؤها غورا فلن تستطيع له طلبا. Or the water of this garden becomes غورا, you can't even gather it. It all goes into the earth. وَلَن تَسْتَطِيعَ لَهُ طَلَبًا. طَلَبًا means you ask for. So even if you ask for this water and you try to seek and obstruct it, you wouldn't be able to. So and these are, imagine the scene of this garden, and this believer saying to his friend, وَأُحِيطَ بِثَمَرِهِ. So Allah Azza says, now the punishment came. وَأُحِيط means covered. إحاط as in with all parameters. So وَأُحِيطَ بِثَمَرِ as in بِثَمَرِ, and the fruit was all covered, and the punishment included everything in these two gardens. فَأَصْبَحَ يُقَلِّبُ كَفَّيْهِ. This is an amazing description of what the guy was reacting. Allah Azza says, فَأَصْبَحَ يُقَلِّبُ كَفَّيْهِ عَلَى مَا أَنْفَقَ فِيهَا. So then he began to wring his hands. And usually when something really sad happens to you, you start doing like that, or you want to control yourself from what you see, because these gardens that he's been praising himself about, look, he can see in front of him, it's dust, it's nothing now, literally. فأصبح يقلب كفيه على ما أنفق فيها وهي خاوية. And these gardens were empty, خاوية, and they're empty from the fruits. It's flat now. على عروشها ويقول يا ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا. Now he learned his lesson. So he said, يا ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا. I wish if I did not praise myself and list myself as a God, and I disbelieved in Allah, and I had a partner with Allah, which is myself. So now he realized what he was doing wrong. وَلَمْ تَكُنْ لَهُ فِئَةٌ يَنْصُرُونَ. Allah Azza says. So there weren't anyone or any men to help him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا كَانَ مُنْتَصِرًا. And he wouldn't have helped himself from this punishment to happen to his gardens. So what Allah wanted to happen, it would have happened. Nobody could have stopped it. هُنَالِكَ الْوَلَايَةُ لِلَّهِ الْحَقِّ. Allah Azza says, in that case, protection is only from Allah, al-haq, the truth. He is the best for reward and the best for consequence. This is the whole story from start to end. Allah Azza wa Jalla then gives a description of our life. وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Give them an example. The first example was وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ. Give them the example of these two people, one with two heavens. And now another example of us thinking. وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيا. Let them imagine this حياة الدنيا, this dunya they're living in. كَمَا إِنْ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ. Just like water or rain that we bring from the sky, and it will mix with the plants, and it'll look beautiful, and the plants will look fresh, and they'll grow. But what next? فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ فَأَصْبَحَ هَشِيمًا تَذْرُوهَا. Eventually, the plant will die. So it's an amazing thing to think of. This is our life. It's a journey. Maximum 100 years, 70, 60, you don't know. Just make sure that you make every second count. تَذْرُوهُ الرِّيَاحِ. And then Allah says, the wind could blow this plant away. That's it dies and rottens and it's done. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرًا. And indeed Allah over everything is capable. And even though this is after the story, I just wanted to mention this last verse. Allah says, Al-Malu wal-Banun, which directly linked to the surah, the story. Al-Malu wal-Banun. Mal, wealth, Banun, children. Allah says, Al-Malu wal-Banun, Zinat al-Hayat al-Dunya. This is kind of linked to one of the surah in Al Imran, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ. Nisa, women, wal-Baneen. So Allah beautified this wealth with the women, wal-Baneen, the children. وَالْقَنَاطِيرُ الْمُقَنطَرَةُ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ and the money and gold, etc. to the end of the verse. Here Allah says, Al-Mali wal-Banun, the beauty of this life is money and children. But what's better? Allah gives us an alternative. This is the better thing. وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ ثَوَابًا وَخَيْرٌ أَمَلًا. And the Baqiyat al-Salihat, the ulama tafsir says, listen carefully. This is money, wealth and children. But Allah says, what's better than that is al-Baqiyat al-Salihat. Ulama tafsir says, Baqiyat al-Salihat are Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. These four, I just said it. These are better than the wealth that you could have. And Allah just gave us a story to like make it even easier to understand about money and about wealth, about children. They are better in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. عند ربك ثوابا وخير أملا. And that's where everything that links to this story ends. Allah then starts to describe the Day of Judgment. I do urge you to actually continue reading. As we all read, inshallah, we all read this in every Jum'ah. It's really sad that we flow through it, finish it in maybe 15 minutes. But what's the lessons learned? So inshallah, with these understanding, once you read it again, you would know what it means. Inshallah, it affects you. After that, inshallah, tomorrow we'd go to Qissat Musa alayhi salam. Again, the first surah, which was yesterday's, it was a test in the yesterday's story. In faith of Ahl al-Kahf, sorry, yes, my knowledge is. So in Ahl al-Kahf and their faith, Allah tested them. And now, a guy, Allah tested it with his money. He failed the test, definitely. These people believed in Allah and they passed the test by keeping their faith. And the next story is Musa alayhi salam. And one of the things that you could learn, inshallah, we'll get to it actually tomorrow. I won't spoil it. Another final thing that I would like to mention is I just read it in Arabic, and I could have continued reading the tafsir in Arabic, but that's not the point, because you won't benefit or learn from it. And I was listening to Mufti Mink, and one of the amazing things that he says, after the salah, yes, the salah, you can't translate it, you can't say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen and translate it. It'll take you long, it's not suitable for the salah. But after the salah, we say Astaghfirullah, 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 Subhanallah, when we finish the whole page. But do we actually think of it? Astaghfirullah, oh Allah, I ask you for forgiveness. Actually, when you say Astaghfirullah, stop and say it in English, because it's easy for you to understand, therefore it can affect you, and you can implement it and fear Allah, and etc. There's a lot of things that we read in Arabic, we just flow through it because it's not a language that we understand. That's including myself. And honestly, wallah, I'd read the Arabic Quran, and I'll read the tafsir in Arabic, and I'll read the tafsir in English, because it's amazing to just read it from different verses and learn it in different styles. So I do urge you to actually do that and think of the meanings and lessons that you can draw from a story and from the Quran, rather than just reading and flowing through it. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بارك الله فيكم. Any question about the story, brothers?